Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart, and this is a quite interesting thing because here we get M3 Stuart in its initial production version, and as you can see it's interior kit, and in 1/35 scale it might be a really nice assembly, and well, considering that we get all internals in the package, so it might be also something to play with and to try some different weathering methods. And of course I have here the commercial sample, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review, and nothing will change because this is the final shape of this release. And first, as usual, we get the interior kit. Maybe later there will be versions without interior, but today we are talking about this, let's say, more developed version. So the set number is 35401, and we have quite nice box art here, and box size is I would say somewhat standard for this type of release from Miniart. So here is comparison with my hand, and then on the side here you can see also some safety advices and address of the manufacturer, while on the opposite side you'll find 4 marking options which are included into this kit. They are not so sophisticated, I would say, but we will talk more about this when we will be checking the marking guide. And here is the small reminder that we have the decals from Cartograph, so the quality is really nice. My recent experience actually proves it, that they are easy to apply and there were no issues whatsoever. So we start with the overall look. So as you can see, there is plenty of space in the box, and I think nothing will be damaged if it will arrive to you via post. Well, actually to me it arrived with help of the postal service, and as you can see everything is intact. And now I just need to tear apart this plastic bag and see what is inside. So of course the amount of the spruce is really huge here, and parts count will be big as well because this is interior kit, but I think this is actually the most fun point of this kit, because I think few of modelers actually buy this kit for less parts to assemble, and I think everybody understands what they are getting if they are going this way. So first of all, we start with the decals sheet. Here you can see that we have, I would say, somewhat standard decals, and we have all necessary symbols. We also have some interior decals here on this cut off area, and overall printing quality is really good. I can bring it even closer, and if camera will focus, you can see what I'm talking about. So overall, it's really nice. Okay, next we continue with the clear sprue. So this one is packed together with decals into a separate plastic bag, so it won't be scratched or damaged somehow. But as you can see, molding quality is really good here, and we have all of the necessary clear elements. And the only thing which you'll require is the masks, because, well, Miniart usually does not include masks, and this is not an exclusion from this rule, I mean this kit. Okay, next we continue with the gray plastic sprues. And here I think I will show you one more extra, because we have also the small envelope with Miniart logo, and here we have the unpainted P thread, as far as you can see. Yeah, so only one, but we have here all necessary parts for nice pictures on your tank. So as you can see, a lot of small parts, so be ready to work with them carefully and maybe get some sharp pointed tweezers, because otherwise it might be tricky to get them into the place. And maybe P bender or P holder is also a nice idea to have in your collection. Next we start finally with the gray plastic sprues. So maybe I will not zoom out, and first we start with a zoomed in view, because here we have these hull sections. As you can see, these are side panels for the lower section, and also we have the separate panels for the top area. And of course we have a lot of pre-molded features, and there will be also some pre-molded internal features, because this is an interior kit, so you won't be able to replicate it somehow different. But we also have here the rivets all over the place. And for the rivets, I think it's a really good idea to bring them out with help of some weathering ideas. And just to show you the interior details which I was talking about here, you can take a look at some of them. And here is the floor panel for this tank. So everything looks really nice in my opinion, and I think for this scale it's really good details which you get out of the box. You don't have to modify anything, you just have to carefully assemble those parts. So it's a really nice thing to get from Miniart. But from another side, if you are experienced modeler with Miniart, then you won't be surprised surprised because this is something what is coming in every of their recent releases. Nevertheless, here we continue with another plastic sprue, and as you can see, this one is dedicated to the mix of parts. So I guess those are more of interior elements, and some of them are really tiny. You can see comparison with my fingertip, so you should be careful with the thin parts as well, because those are definitely not really easy and fast to apply. Next, another small sprue with various parts for the interior. I guess here we have also some dials for the driver compartment and also some parts for the machine gun. Next, we continue with one more plastic sprue. This is the sprue CA, and here you can see some parts for the engine. So I really hope that the engine is fully included here. At least it was advertised like this on the 3D renders. So if it is included, then it gives even more possibilities for some diorama ideas. And of course you can expose it in different ways, maybe even assembled beside the tank if you plan not to open the engine compartment. I'm just looking at the next sprue and I wonder how the turret will be assembled, because here it is quite special shape as well, but I guess it's also can be replicated with the separate panels. And you can see some of them here. Of course, we will get also the separate hatches, which is useful in case you plan to place some figurines on your tank. And of course figurines are not included into this release, but maybe Miniart will have them as the separate kit, which can be purchased separately or together with this kit in the model shop. So here we continue with another plastic sprue, a lot of small parts. I guess those ones are also all of the internal elements, so some time will be needed in order to install all of this stuff onto your model. And here we continue with various accessories for the interior. So we have the jerry cans, we also have the ammo boxes, and here we have the radio station. So now really nice details which are promoted. If I zoom in here, you can check them closer. And the only thing is to assemble, for example, those jerry cans out of two parts. It might be a bit tricky, but we have the guiding elements inside, so I don't think it will be a problematic thing to work with. Next, we continue with the turret. So as you remember, we had the separate hatches. Here we continue with the separate panels, and overall again we have really nice riveting here, and if I flip it over, we have also some internal features as well, but this is will be really difficult, I would say, to show on the finished model, and I wonder how some others will expose this on the finished kit. Next, we continue with Pioneer tools. Note that some of them are molded with clamps, some of them are molded without clamps, and I wonder if we can replicate the clamps with PE parts, because I'm looking at the PE thread and I don't see that many clamps. So maybe there will be another method, but we need to check the assembly manual in order to fully understand it. In the meantime, I can show you another plastic sprue which is dedicated to the external parts. So here we have the sections for the rear area of the tank. Also we have some parts for the drivetrain, as you can see here, and everything looks quite nice. So it's just a matter of picking those parts, and maybe also good idea to get some reference material, maybe some real wartime photos. Even black and white should be useful in order to replicate it in a better way. But we were talking about the engine, and here is the engine. So as you can see, the famous Star engine is included here, and if I zoom in, we have really nice pre-molded features here. So I would rather think of exposing this engine on the finished model, and unfortunately from what I see here is that you will not be able to place the engine separately from the tank, and because this wall is pre-molded with the cylinders. But correct me if I'm wrong, we'll also see it in the assembly manual. But even in the tank, inside the tank, it should be a really cool thing to have. And regarding the armament, here we have various machine guns, and I also want to show you the mantlet cover here. So we have the casting marks on this as well, which is really cool, and I think it shows what you can achieve with the modern technology. So a lot of features are actually replicated in the standard plastic. You don't have to use any of the PE upgrades for this. And last but not the least is the sprue, which is supplied in 2 sets. And this is quite interesting because these are actually small frames, but as you can see, they're interconnected. So as I said, they're given in 2 pieces. Just to prove it, here is the second one. And here we get the drivetrain parts, meaning the separate track links, but note that here we get the track lengths, and the track links will be needed only for the short, I would say, sections, and you can see them here. And also we have the idlers and drive sprockets. We have the road wheels with the rubber sections pre-molded, so the rubber bandages will have to be painted separately, and obviously the masks are not included, so be ready to carefully paint them with your own tools, but I think it's not difficult to find some circular masks. And what I'm showing now is the closer look at those track parts, also at the suspension parts, road wheels, and here we can take a look at the drive sprocket. So for the drive sprocket, we have the attachment right on the teeth, so I guess it should be easy to separate those parts and get them ready to be installed onto your model, onto your tank. But now we can go on with the assembly manual. So this one is printed in color, and I will just close the lenses so that you won't be blinded by this white pages. So here we have the short list of the features, and now, as you remember, Miniart does not show the parts count there because it's already quite a large number. Next we continue with the parts map. Again, another Miniart tradition is that unused parts are not shown here, and assembly process starts from the floor panel. So here straight away you are working on some interior parts. As you can see, these are mainly driver controls and also the gearbox, and then we continue with more parts being installed in the interior, also this front armor plate, and then more and more parts for the engine bulkhead. Then here we have another seat being installed, and you can see that the seat will be actually using these seat belts out of PE parts, which is quite interesting design, I would say. And again, the question is how to expose all of this. But next we move on with the jerry can, which will be placed inside. Then we have these stowage bins, and then we start working on the engine. So engine, as far as you can see, is assembled mostly out of plastic parts, but maybe on the next page we will have some PE. No, it's actually a full plastic parts assembly, which is quite interesting for Miniart case because they like to replicate various wires with help of PE parts, but here we have everything out of plastic. And then we continue with more parts for this engine, and then it gets installed onto this bulkhead. And next, so yes, we can open the rear hatch, the rear door, and expose the engine, which is really cool, even though it will be barely visible through this opening, but still something to have. And I would say one of the ways to expose the engine. The same can be said about these hatches, which you can see on the next page. And next we continue with more hatches here and there. And I can see also some metal wire will be needed to replicate, obviously, the wiring. So be ready to have your own wiring of this. Well, the thickness again is not mentioned. It's only the length. So be ready to check the length and thickness as well. And next we continue with the hatches for the main hull. So you can replicate them in open or closed version. Then we continue with the top hull panel, and here we install some engine bay panels as well. Again, some metal wire is used for the towing cables, I think. And here we start working on the suspension bogies. Here we assemble the tracks, as you can see, this track length. Then we install the side skirts, and next, one more page. Okay, so here we have the Pioneer tools. And I can see that we have the version for advanced modelers. So you delete these guiding tabs, and then you use the PE parts in order to install the Pioneer tools, which is quite interesting. But to give you an idea of the size of these small clamps, here they are really tiny, and you have to be careful and maybe also be aware of the carpet monster as well. Next we continue with the main gun. So here you have to assemble a lot of stuff together. Again, the towing cable is replicated with help of your metal wire, and again the thickness is not specified here. We continue with main gun and machine gun combined together and installed into the turret, and then you can also replicate the combat position or the stowed position for this main gun. And the last page is, of course, its installation of the turret on the main hull. Next, we have first two marking options. So as I said before, they're not as bright as you would expect, but this is something typical for American tanks, and this is just a olive green color. The same can be said about those three as well, but I think it's also something to play with. You can do some color modulation, you can do some pre-shading, and then it will be a really interesting result. As for the tank, it should be already available, and in my opinion this is one of the best Stuarts on the market because it offers just way more than what we saw in the previous releases from other brands. And of course I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And if you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.